On a 2-month business trip, my wife got married. I stared tightly at the phone screen, fingertips trembling slightly. Welcome everyone to attend our wedding. Gu Qingyin's social media post featured a wedding photo. In the picture, she wore a white gown. Her arm looped through a man's elbow while her other hand held a 5 or 6-year-old boy. Yet the man standing beside her wasn't me. It was her former lover, Xiao Hong. 2 months ago, the company sent me on a business assignment. Never did I imagine that in just a few dozen days, my wife would marry someone else. With shaking fingers, I zoomed in on the photo. Her abdomen was completely flat, showing no sign of a 4-month pregnancy. But my wife had just completed her 4-month prenatal checkup. An absurd sensation surged from my feet to the top of my head. How had my life turned completely upside down after just 2 months away? Several friends commented, "Qingyin, what's going on? Weren't you already married?" Gu Qingyin's reply was straightforward. "Mengyang cheated, we're divorced." What? My vision blurred, and I almost dropped my phone. How could I possibly have cheated? For these 2 months, I'd done nothing but work and called her daily to care about her pregnancy. Yet she announced on social media that I cheated? Not knowing why, I still opened the chat window and sent her a message. "Qingyin, is what you said on social media true? We're still husband and wife." After waiting a full 10 minutes, my phone finally vibrated. Just a sham marriage, why the panic? Staring at these words on the screen, my chest felt like it had been struck by a sledgehammer. Sham marriage? We've had the marriage certificate for 2 years and been married for a year. Now she's telling me it was all fake? Called her. No answer. Called again. Still the same cold, automated voice. Sitting in the hotel room, watching the still bustling night view of Xi'an outside the window, I felt my world completely collapse in an instant. At 3 in the morning, I'm still tossing and turning, unable to sleep, my mind completely consumed by that photo. Gu Qingyin and I have been together for 4 years, married for 1. We were so deeply in love. How could she possibly marry someone else? I opened her social media feed and scrolled through carefully. She's barely posted anything these past 2 months, just occasional mundane snippets of life. Looking further back, all I see are photos of us together, shared meals, travel snapshots, images of pure happiness. But now it all feels like a fading illusion. My thoughts churn into chaotic sludge. Was she coerced? Did someone impersonate her account? Did Xiao Hong scheme to force her somehow? Or did she truly betray me? I tried calling her again. Still no answer. My phone vibrated. It was a WeChat message from Mom. "Son," someone said. "They saw Qingyin with a man at the mall today, hugging intimately. What's going on?" My mood instantly plummeted to the rock bottom. The phone screen lit up again. A message from Gu Qingyin's friend Li He. "Mengyang, I don't know if I should tell you this, but Qingyin has been acting very strangely lately. Last week I saw her with a man at a cafe, being extremely close. When asked, she said he was her cousin. But..." I jerked upright from the bed, cold sweat trickling down my forehead. Immediately called the project team leader, briefly explaining there was a family emergency requiring my urgent return. After hanging up, booked the earliest available return flight without hesitation. Staring at the colorful nightscape outside the window, my thoughts involuntarily returned to that day 1 year ago. That day, Gu Qingyin stood at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau wearing a white dress, her smile brighter than the sun. She held my hand and nestled close to me, saying, "Yang Ji, I'll only marry you in this lifetime." I bent down and kissed her forehead. "I'll always be good to you." But now, that vow seems to have become the greatest irony. As soon as the plane landed, I hurriedly took a taxi home. On the way, I kept trying to calm myself down, thinking maybe there was another explanation for things. When I reached the neighborhood entrance, I happened to run into Granny Wang, our neighbor. When she saw me, she visibly paused in surprise. "Xiaoming is back? I thought you'd all moved away." "Moving? What do you mean by that?" "A few days ago, I saw Qingyin with a man carrying lots of stuff out. I assumed you were relocating." Granny Wang looked at me in confusion. "Wasn't that man you?" My heart plummeted. Taking out the keys to open the door, I was met with the stale, stuffy air from prolonged lack of ventilation. From the living room to the bedroom, and then to the kitchen, the entire house felt unusually desolate. Gu Qingyin's everyday items were gone, leaving only a few rarely worn clothes in the closet. Our wedding photo sat on the bedside table, her in a wedding dress with a sweet smile. Seeing that smile filled my heart with bitterness. Under the coffee table lay a trash bag stuffed with torn-up photographs. Piece by piece, I reassembled them, each one a cherished memory from our past. In every photograph, my face had been deliberately torn away. This was naked hatred laid bare. My phone rang. It was Li He calling. "Mengyang, have you gone home? There are some things I must tell you in person." Half an hour later, in the cafe, Li He nervously stirred her coffee, her gaze darting uneasily. "Mengyang, I really don't know how to say this. Qingyin, she seems to have started meeting with Xiao Hing 2 months ago." "Xiao Hong? That ex-boyfriend from her university days?" "That's right, him. Li He bit her lip and continued. Xiao Heng got divorced last year and has a son. He contacted Qing Yan, and they started meeting frequently afterward. I initially thought it was just friendly contact, but until what? Until a month ago, I saw them with my own eyes, embracing and kissing outside a hotel. Li He quickly lowered her head after speaking. I confronted Qing Yan. She said there had been problems between you two long ago, and even claimed you had someone else. But Ming Yang, I know exactly what kind of person you are. I know you'd never do that. I clenched my fists so tight my nails dug into my palms. How dare Gu Qingyan not only betray me, but also slander me? There's one more thing. Li He hesitated, her belly. What about it? She might have already terminated the pregnancy. Li He left the sentence unfinished, but I already understood. Tears spilled from my eyes uncontrollably. Actually, from the moment I saw those torn photos, I had already guessed the general picture. I just couldn't bring myself to believe it. Leaving the cafe, I wandered the streets in a daze. Passing by a bar, I somehow pushed the door open and went in. A few drinks down seemed to temporarily forget some troubles, but couldn't soothe the pain in my heart. After several large glasses of hard liquor, I started rambling and poured out my story to the bartender. Buddy, stop drinking. Go home and think carefully about what to do next. The bartender handed me a glass of warm water. One woman doesn't represent everything. I forced a bitter smile and shook my head. To me, Gu Qingyan was my everything. From campus romance to marriage, then dreaming of future children. I'd poured all my energy into this relationship, only to end up with this heart-wrenching betrayal. Under the influence of alcohol, I involuntarily took out my phone and dialed Gu Qingyan's number. Unexpectedly, she actually answered this time. Hello. Her voice was cold and unfamiliar. Qingyan, why is this happening? I asked, holding back tears. What exactly went wrong between us? Did I do something wrong? There was silence on the other end of the line, followed by a cold laugh. Ming Yang, stop pretending. I've known for a long time that you had someone else. Did you enjoy yourself during these 2 months on business trip? I didn't. You're the only one I've ever had. I almost shouted. Enough. Her tone dripped with sarcasm. I've already found someone I truly love. You're free now. Let's part amicably. As for that child, she paused. It's already been taken care of, and it might not even have been yours anyway. Those words stabbed into my heart like a knife. What did you say? The child wasn't yours. Who knows? Maybe yes, maybe not. Her nonchalant attitude made me want to smash my phone. Ming Yang, we were over long ago. Sign the Devo, RCE papers, and we'll go our separate ways. You've been with Xiao Heng all along, haven't you? When did this start? There was another silence on the other end. Does it matter? What matters is I love him now, not you. After hanging up, I punched the table, immediately breaking the skin on my knuckles and drawing blood. I won't let this go. I need to get to the truth. Early the next morning, I called my college classmate Ma Liang. He now works as a private investigator specializing in investigating affairs and similar matters. Brother, I'll look into it for you. Ma Liang patted my shoulder. But you need to prepare yourself mentally. Some truths might be hard to accept. It's fine. I just want to know the reality. 3 days later, Ma Liang came to me with a stack of documents. His expression was extremely grave. Ming Yang, I've got everything sorted out. He handed me a folder. Gu Qingyan has been involved with Xiao Heng for at least half a year. I opened the folder to find stacks of photographs. The photos showed Gu Qingyan and Xiao Heng dining intimately at a restaurant, holding hands at a cinema, kissing outside a hotel. Each photo was clearly time-stamped, with the earliest one taken 8 months prior. That was just after we'd celebrated our first wedding anniversary. This one is especially important. Ma Liang pointed to a hospital report. I accessed her prenatal checkup records through connections. Based on the gestational age estimation on the ultrasound report, her pregnancy likely occurred 2 weeks before your business trip. What were you doing back then? I paused to recall. During those 2 weeks, I was working overtime frequently and came home very late every day. That explains it, Ma Liang said gravely. My investigation shows Xiao Heng frequently entered and exited your residential complex during that period. The security guards reported seeing him leave your house in the early morning hours on multiple occasions. The news hit me like a bolt from the blue, leaving my entire body trembling. I thought I was working myself to the bone for our family, never expecting my wife would betray me during my absence. There's another detail. According to my investigation, Xiao Heng's company recently encountered serious financial difficulties and urgently needs capital to stay afloat. Have you noticed any missing funds from your bank account? He continued asking. I immediately grabbed my phone and logged into mobile banking to check. Sure enough, nearly 200,000 yuan was missing from our joint account. This was the education fund we'd saved for our child. That bastard. I gritted my teeth in anger. He's not just stolen my wife, but also my life savings. Ma Liang sighed. There's something else you should know. Xiao Heng's ex-wife says he's an emotional con man. Their divorce happened because he fooled around outside and frequently became physically violent. After hearing this, I completely froze. Gu Qingyan actually fell into the hands of such a scumbag? My mind went completely blank, as if all strength had been drained from my body. Ma Liang gripped my shoulders tightly. Brother, I know this is hard to face, but now you must stay strong. Think about what to do next. After taking a deep breath, I said, I know what to do. For the following days, I lived in a daze. At work, I mechanically handled tasks at hand like a robot. Returning to the desolately quiet home at night, I stared blankly at empty walls. Gu Qingyan's WeChat had been blocked, and I stopped answering her calls. I needed time to sort out my emotions and clarify what to do next. On the weekend, alone at home, I packed all photos, gifts, and letters related to Gu Qingyan into a large cardboard box. After several hesitations, I ultimately couldn't bring myself to discard them, instead shoving the box into the deepest corner of the storage room. At night, I drank alone until dizzy and blurred vision. Alcohol temporarily numbed the pain, but I awoke from nightmares in the dead of night, tears streaming uncontrollably. Those days, I relied on sleeping pills to fall asleep and coffee to stay awake. The dark circles under my eyes grew heavier, and I kept losing weight. My colleagues could all tell something was wrong, but nobody brought it up. Until Thursday, Tang Ling, a female colleague at the company who had always been so caring toward me, stopped me in the pantry. Ming Yang, what's wrong? She asked worriedly. You seem like a different person these days. I forced a bitter smile and didn't respond. If there's something on your mind, you can talk to me. Tang Ling handed me a cup of hot tea. Keeping it bottled up isn't good for your health. Maybe because no one had shown me concern in so long, or maybe because I simply couldn't bear the crushing pressure anymore. I told Tang Ling the truth. After hearing me out, her eyes filled with shock and sympathy. Oh my God, Ming Yang. I'm so terribly sorry for you. Nothing much. I struggled to muster a faint smile. Life has to go on. What are you going to do? I haven't figured it out yet. I looked down at the blurred reflection in my teacup. Maybe I'll just sign the divorce papers and let us go our separate ways in peace. You're letting her off like this? Tang Ling furrowed her brows. She not only betrayed you, but also spread rumors about your infidelity, even took your money. Why would you spare her? I raised my head to look at Tang Ling. Her indignant expression took me by surprise. Ming Yang, having known you this long, I understand what kind of person you are. Everyone at the company saw how well you treated Gu Qingyan, working overtime to buy her luxury bags and jewelry, calling to check on her daily. Now that she's done this to you, why should you be the one bearing all the consequences? Tang Ling's words slapped me awake from my self-blame like a thunderclap. She was right. Why should I keep torturing myself like this? You're absolutely right. I clenched my fists. I can't let this go. That night, I stayed awake. But this time, it wasn't wallowing in agony. It was the beginning of devising countermeasures. I will make those who betrayed me pay the price. The next morning, I called a lawyer friend and asked in detail about the negative consequences one might face in a divorce due to infidelity. Then I began gathering evidence. I retrieved Gu Qingyan and Xiao Heng's chat logs, suspicious transfers from joint accounts, and some photos provided by Ma Liang. Afterward, I went to the bank and froze all our joint accounts. When I returned home, I found Gu Qingyan standing at the doorstep. Seeing me, she seemed startled, as if she hadn't expected to run into me here. You're back. Her tone carried a hint of awkwardness, no longer as icy as during our previous calls. What do you want? I asked expressionlessly. I came to get some things. She looked down, avoiding eye contact. I stepped aside to let her in. She headed straight to the bedroom and rummaged through the drawers. All the money is frozen. I leaned against the doorframe and said coldly, don't bother looking for the bank cards. She whirled around. What right do you have to freeze my money? My money. I sneered. That's money we earned together. Until the divorce, no one touches it. Moreover, I now have concrete evidence of your adultery, your chat records with Xiao Heng, photos, and proof of you embezzling household funds. Gu Qingyan's face turned deathly pale. Ming Yang, let me explain. Her voice softened. Xiao Heng and I are just friends. Those photos must be some misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I cut her off. You lived with him when I was away. Posted wedding dress photos announcing marriage on social media. Is that also a misunderstanding? Gu Qingyan bit her lip, panic flashing in her eyes. Ming Yang, I know I was wrong. But after all, we were husband and wife. Husband and wife. I scoffed. I remember you calling this a sham marriage. Her gaze began to waver, no longer meeting mine. I was just being impulsive at that time. Gu Qingyan, how could you do this to me? My voice trembled uncontrollably. Haven't I done enough for you? She hung her head, remaining silent for a moment. Whose child are you really carrying? She suddenly looked up, panic flooding her eyes. Yours, of course, Ming Yang. How could you think that of me? Stop acting. I roared. I've checked the prenatal records. Your due date was set during the 2 weeks I was working overtime every day when Xiao Heng came to our house nightly. Cold tears streamed down Gu Qingyan's face. I'm sorry, Meng Yang. I truly know I was wrong. He said he could give me a better life, show me more care. So you betrayed me for that? Gave him all our family's money. Even got pregnant with his child. Her weeping intensified. I don't know whose child this is. Meng Yang, I was completely lost back then. I sneered coldly. None of this matters anymore. I pulled out a document from my bag. This is the divorce agreement prepared by my lawyer. Given your misconduct, the asset division will be heavily disadvantageous to you. I casually tossed it onto the bed. Sign it, and we'll be done with each other forever. Gu Qingyan stared at the document. Her tears abruptly stopped flowing. What if I refuse to sign? Then I'll publicly release all the evidence. Show everyone your true colors. Your parents, colleagues, students' parents. Everyone will know what you've done. She instantly paled with terror. You can't do this. I'll lose my job. Is that scarier than losing your husband and child? I calmly met her gaze. Gu Qingyan, you chose this path. She suddenly collapsed to her knees, clutching my legs. Please, Meng Yang, forgive me this once. I'll change. Let's start over. I coldly pushed her hands away. It's too late for everything. Gu Qingyan left without signing, but I could tell from her eyes that this matter definitely wouldn't end here. Sure enough, that night she bombarded me with messages, apologies one moment, promises the next, and finally even resorted to shameless tactics, exhausting every trick in the book. I ignored her. The next day, she brought her mother directly to my doorstep. When she saw me, Aunt Gu's tears immediately started flowing. Xiaomeng, can't you resolve this conflict between you two less harshly? Qingyan already knows she was wrong. Won't you forgive her this once? Auntie, I interrupted her. Do you know the truth of what happened? Aunt Gu hemmed and hawed. Young people sometimes make mistakes. I took out my phone and showed her several intimate photos of Gu Qingyan and Xiao Heng. After seeing the photos, Aunt Gu's complexion turned ashen as she turned to confront her daughter. Qingyan, is all this true? Gu Qingyan lowered her head and remained silent. Aunt Gu let out a long sigh and turned to me. Xiaomeng, I'm truly sorry. I never imagined she could do such things. Then she said to Gu Qingyan, Come, we're going home. Your father needs to know about this. Though clearly reluctant, Gu Qingyan followed her mother away, shooting me a venomous look before leaving. I knew this matter wouldn't end here. Over the following week, she persistently disrupted my life. Sometimes standing beneath my apartment building screaming late at night, sometimes blocking my way to the office, even going to kneel and beg forgiveness at my parents' home. I remain net unmoved. Ma Liang later shared more information. Xiao Heng is currently in financial trouble, owing multiple loan sharks. His planned vacation with Gu Qingyan fell through, probably short on funds. Moreover, his company is struggling and reportedly seeking investors everywhere. I sneered, so much for his so-called love. Also, Ma Liang's voice grew lower. We've discovered issues with Xiao Heng's enterprise involving tax evasion. Do you want to submit the evidence to relevant authorities? I agreed without hesitation. Yes, submit it. 3 days later, the police raided Xiao Heng's enterprise and took him away for investigation. The news spread rapidly, with numerous creditors rushing to demand repayment from him. Gu Qingyan reappeared, her eyes swollen. Meng Yang, was it you who reported Xiao Heng? I didn't deny it. His own crimes would naturally be investigated. She sobbed. Do you know how hard my life is now? Xiao Heng has massive debts. Those debt collectors think I'm his wife and come demanding repayment. Didn't you always want to become his partner? Why the discontent now that your dream has come true? I said mockingly. She screamed hysterically. How did you become so heartless? What happened to the person you used to be? Coldly watching her, I replied calmly. Who changed me? From the moment you betrayed me, you could no longer expect any softness from me. Her weeping intensified. I know I did many wrong things. He deceived me, didn't love me, only wanted money. He even beat and threatened me. Those were the consequences of your own choices. Help me. I'm truly at the end of my rope. What does that have to do with me? I can bear you a child. Isn't that what you always wanted? She was practically begging. I'll be loyal to you. I was just confused before when I made those stupid mistakes. Finally losing patience. Enough. Gu Qingyan, I gave you chances. You didn't take them. Now, leave immediately and never appear in my sight again. With that, I slammed the door violently, blocking out the outside noise. Returning to the room, I looked at the divorce papers on the desk and slowly signed my name. Gu Qingyan's pleas didn't sway my decision. The next day, through my lawyer, I filed a divorce petition with the court, hoping the judge would rule in my favor based on Gu Qingyan's marital misconduct. Almost simultaneously, Ma Liang brought news. Xiao Heng had been temporarily released on bail awaiting trial, but his company was essentially bankrupt, with creditors' demands echoing everywhere. A week later, accompanied by my lawyer, I attended the pre-trial mediation session. Gu Qingyan was present too, looking so emaciated I barely recognized her. Though her belly showed a slight swell, her entire frame resembled mere skin and bones. In the mediation room, she requested to speak with me privately once more. Mingyong, can't you forgive me for this last chance? She pleaded with teary eyes. Gu Qingyan, stop the act, I said wearily. There's no returning to what we were. You shattered my trust and broke my heart. Some things, once shattered, can never be mended. Can't you really forgive me even a little? She clung to me. I truly just lost my head for a moment. I withdrew my hand. It's all over. After hearing this, Gu Qingyan collapsed into the chair, weeping bitterly. When leaving the courthouse, heavy rain suddenly fell outside, as if weeping for this shattered marriage. I walked home through the rain, icy droplets mixing with unstoppable tears streaming down my cheeks. In the following days, I threw myself wholeheartedly into work, leaving early and returning late every day, desperately taking on various projects, just to keep myself from dwelling on those tormenting thoughts. Tang Ling became my indispensable assistant at work. Her meticulous approach and professional excellence shone through, and during my low moments, she would always silently bring me a steaming cup of coffee. Mingyong, how's that case progressing? Tang Ling asked me one day after work. It's still under review. Gu Qingyan has been refusing to agree to the divorce, and the court proceedings are moving slowly too. Is she still giving you trouble? I get a bunch of texts and missed calls every day. I pressed my temples wearily. I've blocked her number multiple times, but she always finds new ways to harass me. Tang Ling stayed quiet for a moment before asking, Mingyong, do you really think you don't care anymore? I froze. What do you mean? What I'm saying is, while you appear resolute on the surface, I think deep down you still have feelings for her, don't you? I gave a bitter smile. Maybe so. After all, we went through so many days together. Emotional bonds can't be severed completely overnight. What if she truly repents? Would you take her back? I shook my head. No. Some things can never be fully restored once broken. It's like a shattered mirror. Even if you glue it back together, it'll never be the same as before. After leaving the company, I walked alone along the way home. As night fell, the streetlights stretched my shadow long and thin, accentuating the loneliness. I've been dreaming of Gu Qingyan frequently lately. Sometimes she smiles radiantly, other times she's drenched in tears. Every time I wake from these dreams, I'm covered in cold sweat with a heavy heartbeat, as if something were tightly gripping my heart. I have to admit Tang Ling was right. While appearing calm and resolute on the surface, my heart remains entangled. But this doesn't mean I'll return to the past. Some wounds, even if forgivable, can never be completely released. When I reached my doorstep, I noticed a small paper box there. Opening it revealed our wedding rings, accompanied by a note. Mingyong, I'm sorry. If time could flow backward, I wish we'd never met Xiaohong. Gu Qingyan. I stared at these rings for a long time, but ultimately decided to throw them in the trash. 1 month later, the court announced the verdict. Because Gu Qingyan had committed wrongdoing, the court ruled for our divorce, with all shared property awarded to me. She had no right to claim anything. When I received the divorce decree that day, my emotions weren't as relieved as I'd imagined. Instead, I felt a profound sense of loss, as if a part of me had vanished with it. Ma Liang told me Xiaohong had been sentenced to fines and imprisonment for tax evasion. He's completely finished this time, Ma Liang said. Even creditors are knocking on his door now. His house is going to be auctioned off. Hearing this, I felt no vengeful satisfaction, just numbly nodded. Returning home, the house felt hollow. I sat on the sofa and lit a cigarette. Though I rarely smoke, only the nicotine made me feel alive in that moment. My phone rang, an unknown number. Answering it, I heard Gu Qingyan's voice. Mingyong, I just want to say one last thing. Her tone was unervingly calm. I know I was wrong, and I'm truly sorry for hurting you. I hope you'll find happiness in the future. Before I could respond, she hung up. This phone call left my mind churning for a long time. Gu Qingyan's uncharacteristic calmness made me somewhat worried. At 10 p.m., Gu Qingyan's mother called, her voice choked with sobs. Xiaoming, Qingyan is at the hospital. She slit her wrists. My heart clenched violently. Which hospital? When I rushed to the hospital, Gu Qingyan had already been stabilized. She lay on the hospital bed, her face deathly pale, wrists wrapped in thick bandages. When she saw me, Auntie Gu grasped my hand. Xiaoming, could you stay with Qingyan until she wakes up? The doctor said she lost too much blood and her emotions are still unstable. After a moment's hesitation, I nodded in agreement. The hospital room was now left with just Gu Qingyan and me. Looking at her gaunt face, a tumult of emotions churned within me. Though I resented her betrayal, I couldn't bear seeing her spiral into self-destruction. Gu Qingyan slowly opened her eyes. Seeing me, a flicker of surprise flashed through her gaze before it dimmed immediately. You came. She said weakly, "Yeah, sorry to make you worry." Her voice was barely audible. "I know I was wrong, hurt you, ruined my own life. Only when I received the court verdict today did I suddenly realize it's all over. So what? You shouldn't have done this." I cut her off. Life is precious. No matter what happens, it's never worth throwing your life away out of spite. I wasn't being impulsive. Tears slid from her eyes. I was just too desperate. Mingyong, Xiaoheng got arrested. I lost my job. My parents are disappointed in me. Friends all drifted away. Most importantly, I lost you. Suddenly, I felt my life had become completely meaningless. I didn't know how to respond, remaining silent. "Mingyong, I don't ask for your forgiveness. Just promise me one thing." She looked at me with pleading eyes. "Never find another woman like me. It's not worth it." "Now you understand," I said calmly. "You? Do you really not care about me anymore?" She became agitated, staring at me with wide eyes as if about to cry. "I truly just made a momentary mistake." "Gu Qingyan," I said sternly, "stop saying such things. You should take responsibility for your choices, not escape them." She smiled bitterly. "Yes, I know I must bear the consequences, but I'm just so exhausted." Seeing her so desperate, my anger gradually faded, replaced by a sense of indifference. This woman, I had truly been utterly blind before. "Take care of your health." I stood up to leave, and live well. Exiting the hospital, stars twinkled in the night sky. Taking a deep breath, the weight on my shoulders seemed to have lightened a bit. I finally realized, true release isn't resentment, but the ability to face the past with peace. 2 weeks later, as I was about to get off work, my phone rang again. It was a call from the police. Xiaoheng had been stabbed in prison and was in critical condition. Even more shocking was that the assailant turned out to be Gu Qingyan. I immediately tried calling her, only to find her phone had been powered off. 3 days later, the police located Gu Qingyan in a remote motel. She offered no resistance and calmly confessed to her actions. She said Xiaoheng ruined her life. The officer told me so. Hearing this, I was momentarily stunned into silence. 2 days later, Xiaoheng succumbed to his severe injuries and passed away. 2 months later, prison guards called to inform me that Gu Qingyan had committed suicide in prison. She had made a rope from bedsheets to hang herself and was found without any signs of life. This news struck me like a bolt from the blue, leaving me struggling to accept it. Though we had long since parted, Gu Qingyan had once been one of the most important people in my life. Her departure tore open the not yet fully healed wound in my heart. At her funeral, I gazed at her photo, overwhelmed by complex emotions. Her life had ended so dramatically, leaving behind endless regrets and remorse. Not long afterward, I gradually let go of this matter. Life continued, and the story drew to its close. But the lessons of